VCOs, right, the organizations we work with, using the internet, but we're really focusing particularly here now on Web 2.0 technologies and strategies, okay, now have the tools and the power to change the world. All right, let's go for it. Agreement over here with that statement, and disagreement over here.
There's the new tools of communication, and that bring together, let's say, people who believe in the same cause. And we've seen in the, with the consultation that happens with Heathrow, that there's a lot of people gathered around. I think they use a lot of websites and networking, so they all want to put their message across. So I think the internet and the social collaboration and all that allow them or help those people to get together and put their message across.
And you're seeing this?
Yeah.
You're seeing it on the ground?
Yeah, I mean, this
point
is what
to
I've
examples.
said. Yeah, point to example. Yeah,
okay.
that's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I want to make sure that people are aware. This is not a vision.
Yeah, because the people who were on the roof of the Parliament, they have a website, and and they used it to communicate and to organize all this. So.
And they use the website differently now because of the tools. That's why we're talking about now than earlier versions of what we did with the web and the internet. Okay. Why else?
Because I've seen it happening now. It is happening now. That Miles made a point about Burma. They had to shut the internet down to keep everyone quiet. So it proves that it does make an impact. I've also seen a very small local community group that wanted to save a canal, I think, in Merseyside. And they had this branded wooden spoon that they sent around. They sent around the world, and they exchanged it at different places, and using things like Facebook and Flickr. There's photos of this spoon in different parts of the world. So that message was going globally, and people were coming to their one site to see what was happening, to find out about it. So I think things are happening now.
The intended audience, by and large, have either the technology, the knowledge to take advantage of it. It's a redundant question. I told you I was militant. Yeah.
Well, I think the examples given from the far end are about people using the technology to try and change the world. I would debate whether they are successful in changing the world.
Fantastic.
The technology is available, like you say, but whether there's enough community organisations using the technology effectively, that's the question.
It's always existed. It's how you actually use it. The technology itself doesn't change the world. It's people that actually, in their politics, that change the world.
Just for the sake of some convergence, how many of you on this side of the room are on this side of the room somewhat for that reason? Is there a relationship to how it's used and its application? Just a show of hands for us to get a sense of the reasoning. Okay, so it seems to be a predominant theme. Are there any other profound, deep themes here that are outside of that?
What's appropriate? So your question was very distinct about VCOs and is it going to change the world? I'm rather old school, so I often think in terms of what ICT can do to help organisations. So and I mentioned earlier about being hugely interested and amused by this virtual world business. I can't see that getting anywhere near voluntary and community organisations' needs and uses and merits. There's a lot of wonderful, interesting, fascinating tools and technologies out there in the big wide world. How much use they are, how appropriate they are for your everyday, if you will, voluntary and community organisation that's trying to do a good job with just a few people and steam-powered old equipment. Not necessarily.
In rural areas, there's no access to broadband. Number one. Also in rural areas, certainly in Herefordshire, we've got a much higher predominance of older people. So that's quite an issue. So if you've got poor access to broadband, lots of VCOs being run by trustees who are older, actually it's going to take a longer time to change their world into accessing technology.
Technology is there and it may not be accessible to everybody, but I'm kind of thinking about it from the point of view of how effective is it in changing the world now? And maybe the technology is being innovatively used by some examples at the far end of the room, saying how well it's working. But the reaction to it by people that want to control the politics is a measure of how successful it is.
So why are you here? Why aren't you over there?
I'm here because I think I'm thinking of it about how successful, for those people that do use it, how successful is it?
Okay.
And it's still not as successful as it should be But what's going to happen is, as the technology and the innovation is used by community organisations to change the world, the reaction is going to be coming from the other side to prevent it from being effective.
Absolutely right, and I support a lot of groups. A lot of their time and energy is spent on making their offices run and making their organisations run, using technology, and they struggle with it, and that's why we're all here, and that's why we get lots of work from them. So they're right down this end. Somebody talks about steam powered, right down this end of the spectrum, rather than being at the other end, changing the world and actually doing what they're supposed to do, because they're spending all the time trying to run their organisations and fighting for funding. That's what they do before they get to the other end over there and make a difference in the world. Some do, but that's why there's so few down there.
I think the technology is there, I think the will is there, but there's also a political will to stop it happening, because it's going to tread on people's toes, it is not their agenda, and they will try to stop it.
Because I think it's a little of both. I see some promise, I see some organizations doing some cool things with it, but I really think it's in its infancy, and I totally agree that they're trying to keep the steam going, and they don't really have time, you know. They really need their meat and veg, but that's dessert, and so it'd be nice to have, and everybody wants dessert. Everybody doesn't necessarily want their meat and veg, but that's what they need to keep their organizations running, so that they can then explore these other things.
I like the question because it actually forces us to confront what we're trying to achieve for the VCOs we're working with, because you can think about technology as almost a means, an end in itself, but actually if VCOs are using it as a means to an end, and it's one of several tools that they might use. So the people who got on the Houses of Parliament, the House of Commons yesterday, it's one of several tools that they're using. It's part of their armoury, but the reason they're using it is because they're looking to make a difference. And I think if we lose sight of what our customers are trying to do, they're not actually trying to use technology, they're using technology to do something else, and we need to remember that.
I think there might be a structural problem in the adoption of Web 2 amongst VCOs, and I think that's to get the most out of it and to get those examples where it's really made a difference, you need an element of creative imagination and creativity to really make it work. And a lot of the VCO organisations that we work with certainly are run by committees and are risk adverse. And that's one of the reasons why they don't want to take risks on something which takes a lot of time and needs a lot of imagination, which might only be piloted by
What are you doing in the middle of the room then?
Because there are examples where it does work.
Okay, but most, you said the word most,
I think I don't think it's as widely adopted as anything like as much as it could be.
If you were to work with 10 organizations, how many of them would show resistance that would impede Web 2.0?
The question is, where does the impetus towards a Web 2.0 solution come from?
Okay, what's the driver?
Yeah.
What's the driver? What is pushing the organization?
Yeah.
Keeping up with the Joneses, being more responsive to constituents. What's the driver? This is a superb insight. What is driving the organization's desire to even discuss this, or what's the driver to keep them from discussing it?